One of these three Taurus handguns has a documented problem where the cylinder fails to lock before the hammer falls, roughly once per cylinder, regardless of ammunition. The G3 has feeding issues some owners fix with sandpaper and a rotary tool. The TH10's magazine release can take both hands to operate. Every budget firearm involves trade-offs, but when you compare these three side by side, one flaw isn't a trade-off. It's a warning sign. Taurus has built its reputation in the American market around one promise: more gun for less money. For decades, that budget focus has drawn in first-time buyers and seasoned shooters alike, but it's also led to a split reputation. Some owners praise Taurus handguns as reliable workhorses that deliver thousands of rounds without complaint, while others warn of mechanical quirks that demand extra attention or even professional repair. This comparison doesn't settle for a simple price versus performance chart. Instead, it puts three very different Taurus designs under the microscope, each with its own strengths and history of complaints. The G3, a polymer frame 9mm, aims directly at buyers considering Glock and Smith & Wesson, but hoping to save $100 or more. The 608 revolver has been on gun store shelves since the late 1990s, offering 8 rounds of .357 Magnum, 2 more than most revolvers in its class. And the TH10, Taurus's first 10mm auto pistol, enters a crowded field already dominated by Springfield and Smith & Wesson, promising full power performance at a lower cost. Each of these handguns will be judged by the same standards: reliability, build quality, trigger feel, and the kinds of recurring owner complaints that show up in forums and gun shop conversations. The goal isn't to nitpick minor annoyances, but to weigh which flaws are easily fixed and which hint at more serious design problems. In the end, the real question is, which of these three would you trust if it mattered most? The Taurus G3 enters the field as a full-size striker-fired 9mm pistol with a 15-round magazine, polymer frame, and stainless steel slide. On paper, it checks all the boxes for an affordable defensive handgun, but the real test comes once rounds start flying. Independent reviewers have put the G3 through its paces, with some firing over 500 rounds of mixed ammunition, including steel-cased and premium hollow points, without a single malfunction. These high-round tests, often run back-to-back with rapid magazine changes, show the G3 cycling reliably under stress. It's the kind of performance that earns trust from budget-conscious buyers looking for a dependable sidearm. Yet that's only half the story. Owner reports, especially from those breaking in a new G3, reveal a different experience. Multiple shooters have documented failures to feed within the first couple hundred rounds. In forums and video reviews, the pattern emerges. A round hangs up on the feed ramp, stalling before it can chamber. One owner traced the problem to a sharp edge left on the factory feed ramp. The fix? A careful hand polish with sandpaper and a rotary tool, followed by a thin coat of oil. After this DIY adjustment, many report flawless performance for thousands of rounds. But for those unwilling or unable to perform the fix, the issue can persist, especially with certain hollow point loads. The G3's trigger also draws mixed reviews. Measured pull weights land between 5.5 and 6.5 pounds, heavier than some competitors, and with a longer travel that can slow rapid follow-up shots. Still, most users find it manageable for defensive shooting, and some even prefer the extra weight for safety. What emerges is a pistol with a split record, impressive reliability in independent tests, but a recurring early life feeding problem that often demands owner intervention. For many, the issue is practical and fixable, a matter of smoothing out factory tolerances rather than a sign of deeper mechanical failure. The G3 isn't a disaster, but it isn't a flawless performer either. Whether that's good enough depends on how much work you're willing to put in and how much risk you're willing to accept out of the box. With its 8-shot cylinder and stainless steel frame, the Taurus G3 stands out among budget revolvers for more than just capacity. Shooters often highlight its accuracy with reports of 3-inch groups at 25 yards using factory .357 Magnum loads. The single-action trigger is another point of pride, consistently measured at around 2.5 pounds, light enough to make precise shooting feel effortless. The ported barrel, available on several models, tames the sharp recoil of full-power Magnum rounds, making follow-up shots quicker and more comfortable. Some owners describe the 608 as a long-term companion, logging over 10,000 rounds across 15 years without a single mechanical failure. Regular cleaning and a steady hand seem to keep these revolvers running smoothly. For those who land a well-tuned example, the 608 can deliver a satisfying mix of power, control, and reliability that earns real loyalty. This reputation for durability and shootability helps explain why the model has stayed on shelves for decades and why some buyers swear by it even after years of heavy use. A persistent flaw shadows the Taurus G3, a cylinder timing failure that strikes at the revolver's most basic promise. In straightforward terms, the cylinder sometimes fails to rotate fully and lock before the hammer falls. Instead of a chamber lining up cleanly with the barrel, the gun can fire while the cylinder is just off its mark. This isn't an isolated event. A thorough field test reported the timing issue about once per cylinder, regardless of ammunition or how meticulously the revolver was cleaned. Every 8 shots, there's a chance the chamber won't be where it should be. Reports from gun forums echo this pattern. Owners describe the cylinder clicking without locking, or the hammer dropping on a chamber that's not fully aligned. Some see the problem after a few hundred rounds, others much sooner. The issue appears with both .357 Magnum and .38 Special, and cleaning or swapping ammunition does nothing to prevent it. It's a mechanical failure, not a matter of maintenance or user error. The problem centers on the cylinder stop assembly. When the stop pin, its spring, or the retaining screw wears or loosens, the cylinder can slip past its locking notch. Gunsmiths point to these small parts as the weak link. Fixing the timing is not a simple job. It means disassembling the revolver, replacing worn components, and resetting the timing so the cylinder locks exactly when it should. In 2019, Taurus issued a service bulletin acknowledging the defect and offered free timing adjustments for affected guns. The consequences are serious. If the cylinder isn't locked, the revolver can fire out of battery, sending a bullet into the edge of the barrel or the frame. This can cause a misfire, a barrel obstruction, or even injury. The double-action trigger, often measured near 12 pounds, adds another layer of risk. Under pressure, a heavy pull can mask the timing issue or make rapid fire unreliable, raising the stakes for anyone relying on the 608 for self-defense or competition. While some 608s run trouble-free, the number of documented timing failures, the severity of the malfunction, and the challenge of repair set this apart from minor quirks. The timing issue stands as a core mechanical risk that demands respect and professional attention. The TH10 stands out in controlled range tests, cycling 4 types of 10mm ammunition, including lightweight frangible rounds, without a single malfunction. Reviewers fired standard FMJ, high-pressure loads, and specialty training rounds, all with 0 failures to feed, eject, or lock back. Even under rapid-fire drills, the pistol's action stayed smooth and consistent. The trigger earns praise as well, measured at 6 to 7.5 pounds, depending on single or double action. For a budget hammer-fired pistol, it feels crisp and predictable, allowing for accurate, fast, follow-up shots. But the TH10's reputation for reliability comes with a practical warning. A recurring complaint centers on the magazine release spring, which many owners describe as excessively stiff. Some shooters find themselves needing both hands to drop a magazine, especially when under pressure or wearing gloves. In a defensive scenario, struggling to reload can turn a minor ergonomic flaw into a real liability. The gun's mechanical reliability is strong, but the stiff magazine release remains a sticking point for those who demand seamless control when it matters most. Not all problems carry the same weight. The G3's feeding issue, while frustrating, often points to a break-in quirk or a sharp feed ramp that responds well to a bit of polishing. For most owners, it's a fix that sits in the realm of basic gunsmithing, annoying but not a deal breaker, and rarely a sign of deeper trouble once addressed. The TH10's magazine release, stiff out of the box, falls into a different category. It's a control flaw that can slow a reload, especially under stress, but it doesn't stop the gun from firing or threaten safe operation. The real outlier is the 608. Its cylinder timing problem isn't just a matter of cleaning or user habit. When a revolver's cylinder fails to lock before firing, the risk isn't inconvenience, it's a mechanical hazard. Unlike the G3 or TH10, the 608's flaw points to a design-level weakness that can't be solved with routine maintenance or a quick adjustment. In the end, the distinction is clear. The G3 and TH10 show quirks that vary from gun to gun, but the 608 carries a warning that runs deeper than owner experience. Every shooter weighs risk differently, but a flaw that affects function or safety isn't just an inconvenience, it's a deal breaker. In today's crowded market, trust comes down to consistency, not price tags. Which would you stake your confidence on? Subscribe for more no-nonsense firearm breakdowns.